Hey, everybody. Everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody's doing all right. We back once again. The main objective here is to connect the dots for our people, um, to educate so that we can move the line forward for our particular groups. It's a lot going on. I've been reading a lot of articles and a lot of police shootings. So we got a lot of activities going on. And so one thing I want to say is that I need us to understand that what we are dealing with in this country is nothing new. That we've been dealing with this long before now, and these riots, these protests are nothing new. One thing I want us to know, to be these critical thinkers, is that we must get away from when you're looking at the protest, and I see this a lot. When you look at a protest, the first thing people want to point out is there goes some white people. One thing you need to always remind yourself of, it don't matter how many white people you see at a protest, how many other races you see at a protest, especially white, when they leave that protest, they go back to being white. The privilege is right back. The only people stuck with the cruel unjust is still ADOS, American descendant of slaves. We still got our skin. We still got that cruel disadvantage when you leave that protest, feeling some way about somebody white being there. It doesn't free you. They don't free you. They don't get you freedom. So that's one thing I want our people to know and understand. Whatever you do, the most critical thing you can do is know that they gonna always have their whiteness. So it don't matter what they do on that in that protest. When they leave, they still remain white, and they still got the advantages that come with being white. You still got your disadvantage that come with being black. ADOS, you still carry it. Tonight, what I want to do here is to try to take some of these things and sum them in. To try to get my people to be able to understand, no matter how much going on here at Breaking the Mental Chain, what ADOS job is to make you be able to see the straight path through the chaos, through all the chaos, to be able to see the straight path. Now, with that being said, we got, once again, in Minneapolis, we got another black male that's been shot. But it's been a lot. It's been actually even more than Minneapolis. There's been other police shootings too that doesn't happen. So it's a lot. But I'm gonna sum all these police shootings up without talking about every single one. Because understand, I can connect the dots to all of them, and I can tell you they ain't gonna stop. They ain't gonna stop for police. They ain't gonna stop because of people protesting, blowing up police cars. Police is getting fired. The commissioners getting fired. It ain't gonna stop from that, because understand, most of y'all see it and you become engaged in it when it happened, and you get disengaged. 2 weeks, week, it's over for you. You back to the club. You back to doing whatever you were doing before. But it's people like me. It's people like the ADOS movement that still be in the trenches and still doing the work and still fighting. Um, so we don't disengage. We stay engaged constantly, constantly trying to reach out to our people, constantly try to educate our people on who they are. And this is what this show is about tonight: who you are. And I know when what we have endured in this country, a lot of times it makes our people want to embrace fantasy over reality. Sometimes fantasy is, you can sleep well at night with that fantasy by telling yourself you come from kings and queens. What we got to come to terms with, the truth is, as ADOS and blacks in this country, we would better relate to the peasants of those kings and queens. That's the truth. But strength, real power comes from knowing who you are, not from fantasy thinking. Because if you know who you are, you know who you're not. So that's what we fighting here tonight. Um, Thank you, Adam, for joining. I see Adam in the chat. We're gonna do something a little different tonight. What we want to try is if people got we want to do Q&A. You can put questions in the chat. I answer them. If you don't agree with something I'm saying, put it in the chat. Will challenge me. Challenge the way I think. If you disagree, put it in the chat. But while you're in here, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit that bell so you can get them notifications when I go live. Help support the work that me and Triangle ADOS, Rocky Mount ADOS, and Winston's Twin City ADOS is doing to try to bring you this information, to try to educate our people, to see through all the chaos, to see the straight path to what it takes to make us whole and to make us complete in the nation, in this country that we have built, that our ancestors built. That's what our goal here tonight. So I challenge all of you. If I'm saying something in a way that you ain't been social engineered to accept, throw that question in. I always say ain't no dumb question, but one that ain't asked. Ask the question, because when you don't know something, if you throw it in that chat, I can try to answer it. And if I don't have the answer, we can come up with the answer. So you can put your questions in the chat. One thing I'm gonna start the show with, I wanna start with the data on police shooting. And the reason I want to start with that data is because ADOS is a movement based in data, not emotions, not looking sympathy, but the truth. And the data holds the truth. And it also holds the manipulation. One thing about indoctrination is, if you know the data, it's gonna wake you up to that indoctrination. And we got to understand about indoctrination started long before you had real understanding. When you was going to school, that indoctrination was started. And most of these people play off what they know they already taught you from school. And it comes up to you when you get grown. I told somebody the other day, it don't shock me that as grown people, we still move in a way of high school. What I mean by that, we still got people moving like they still in high school in our group, meaning who got most. If you notice in our group, a lot of times people, they want to show what they got. If I get a home, I got to brag, I got to show up. I bought a home. Understand that we do that in the form of, just like in high school when you came, when the new Jordans came out, man. I got the new Jordans, man. Look at mine. We got to grow up, and we must become critical thinkers. These things are not going to get us no individual freedom, as you would want to put it. It doesn't come from that. You're going to have to do real work to bring forth real change. It's not going to come from symbolism. I saw something the other day where one of the founders from the Black Lives Matter movement was talking about doing a nationwide what you call it, not stepping name of, but electric slide. They want to do a nationwide electric slide. How do you get policies from that? Because everybody doing electric slide. Oh, we all doing electric slide. Oh, we doing it. Everybody. That is not no economic way of doing anything. That don't pay our people light bill when they can't pay it. That don't keep our people from getting evicted out of their houses when this rent, when these evictions get lifted and these people get ready to go down there and file these eviction papers. 1 in every 4 black people are behind on their rent. ADOS people, 1 in every 4 is behind on their rent. So you're going to have family members being put out, and these people talking about doing an electric slide. I'm over here talking about doing getting the money that we are owed so we can be whole in the nation that we built. I ain't talking about no electric slide, because electric slide ain't going to pay your rent. I'm talking about how to pay your rent. Symbolism ain't going to do it. Putting a sign up, talking about Black Lives Matter, ain't going to do it. When Black Lives Matter is running off with the bag right now. Running off with the bag, running to the white people neighborhood. You still wearing their shirts, you still putting up their signs. That's the first step to understand you ain't even thinking for yourself, because you ain't even paying attention to how people moving. They abandoning ship and you still promote. So what we want to do here, we want to start thinking. We want to start being the people that are the critical thinkers, to stop being manipulated by symbolism. And as Johnny says in the chat here, symbolism will only put a temporary smile on your face. That's all it's going to do. A temporary smile. That's all symbolism going to do. If you want real, if you want to be made whole in this country, you're going to have to do the work. And running in the street every time somebody gets shot ain't the work. Ain't the work. They'll fire a couple people. Understand, most of these people just go to other counties, other states, and get hired right back on again. Why? Because they know they mad in Minneapolis right now. Just send him over another county. He'll be all right. They'll forget. They'll forget. Or send her over to another county. They'll forget. We got to be the people that don't forget. So, and the way you don't forget is knowing the truth. Is knowing the truth. We must stop. I mean, I know we all like cake, but why we got to eat the whole wrapper that the cake came in? We can't take it out of the wrapper. What I mean by take it out of the wrapper, that means you don't agree with everything these people are selling you when you still tethered. You at the bottom economically. So why are you eating every single thing they give you? Yet, ADOS stand here and try to educate you that these people mean you no good. And we still can't get you to understand it. If your life ain't changing, the work ain't being done. So we want everybody involved. Like I said, if I say something here, you challenging me, you thinking another way, put it in that chat. I promise you I can connect the dots to debunk whatever you thinking that I'm not saying the way that you've been socially engineered to see it. Because here at ADOS, Breaking the Mental Chain, we see it through the data. Period. If it don't hold weight on the data, it's your emotion speaking. I'm sorry if you don't like it. That's just how it goes. So the first thing I'm gonna dive into right here is this article. It's got some data here, and I want to go through some of this data. So this data is about police shooting, fatal force. 991 people have been shot and killed by the police in the past year. So, in 2015, the Washington Post began log every fatal shooting by an on-duty police officer in the United States. In that time, there has been more than 5,000 such shootings recorded by the Post. After Michael Brown, an unarmed black man, was killed in 2014 by police in Ferguson. A Post investigation found that the FBI undercounted fatal police shootings by more than half. This is because reporting by police departments involuntary and many departments failed to do so. The Post dated replied primarily on news accounts, social media posts, and police report. Analysis of more than 5 years of data revealed that the number of fatal shootings and the overall demographic of the victims have remained relatively constant. Now, understand what we are seeing right here. This article is telling us that the demographic, that's the race, remains constant. Who is being killed by the police? It's the data. The numbers remain constant. Who is being killed by the police? But you got organizations like Black Lives Matter talking about handicap, Hispanic, they talking about trans and everybody else, but the straight black male that's being incarcerated at rates that we ain't never seen in the world. They telling me about a trans. They telling me about gender. It's who is being killed. This data just told you. It don't matter what nobody's saying. This data is saying it's straight black men that's being killed by the police more than anybody. That remains flat across the United States. It's straight black men that are being killed by the police. So when you got an organization out there that's saying they profiting off the dead bodies of straight black men, while at the same time saying they don't care about straight black men. Because if you read their mission statement, they don't say nothing about a straight black male. You got to be transgender, LBGQ. If you that, you fine. But for some reason, it's our dead bodies that's stacking up while their money is stacking up. I'm gonna read something from the chat here. What Adam says right here. Matter of fact, I highlighted up here. The work is easy or quick, slow, and takes commitment. Not sexy work. It's see what Adam says here is man, it's truth. And that's what we got to come to terms with. This is truth. And truth ain't always what you want to hear, because truth is like waking you up out of the twilight zone to accept it. You know? We got to come to terms with it. We got to be here for the long haul. And no matter how hard we fight, how many victories we get, understand the fight will never end. That's another thing our people got to wrap their mind around. Our kids, whatever goals and accomplishment we accomplish now, our kids are going to have to step up to the plate to do the same. So if you ain't educating your kids about politics, policies, you are failing them. And I don't care if they go to college. I don't care if they go to college. If you ain't educating them about politics and policy, you are failing them. Because understand, these policies that these people will be passing will hinder your kids when they in school and when they graduate too. I explained something to somebody the other day. I said, when you tell me that your child is smart, if your child is so smart, the first thing they need to know, whoever has the wealth controls all. Without wealth, your smart child will work for somebody that's less intelligent because they got more wealth than he do. So whatever ideal his brilliant mind can come up with, he's going to have to take that ideal to where the money is. Period. I don't care how he'll never get smart enough to out Trump wealth. Or she. He or she will never get smart enough. Because no matter what they come up with, how well it's designed, how well it's thought out with, they will still end up standing in front of somebody white saying, here's my idea for my business opportunity. Can you invest in me? That's how it's going to go. And it's going to come down to that white male or white woman to explain to them, this is what I'm willing to give you for the ideal. Period. So your child being smart ain't going to help him. This, what I'm talking about, will help him. But we must get in the fight for the long haul. Now I'm going to go back to the article that the fight is not as complicated if we could get our people involved to understand it. Stroll down here. It says that the rate of shooting remains steady. Despite the unpredictable events that led to the fatal shooting, police nationwide have shot and killed almost the same number of people annually, nearly 1,000. since the post beginning of the project. Possibly theories offer an explanation. It holds that the quality of rare events and huge populations tend to remain stable. Absence change the fundamental shift in the police culture. Extreme restrictions on gun owners. Then we're gonna go down here. They showing us the charts, how these charts are ranking up. Right here we see what it's saying. Black America are killed. Black Americans are killed at a much higher rate than white America. Although half the people shot and killed by police are white, Black America are shot at a disparate rate. They account for less than 13% of the U.S. population, but are killed by police at more than twice the rate of white Americans. Hispanics Americans are also killed by the police and so one thing I want to get into this chart, and this term Hispanic. This term Hispanic. Now, I know it's some people probably have not it's some people here that ain't don't know much about this term Hispanic. So I got to stop a minute and talk about it. It's a made up term that the United States made up and made it normal. They sold it to the Americans kind of like this. Hispanics are good people. They are family orientated. They are working hard people. See, this is how America sold the term Hispanic. Hispanic is not tied to a country, because understand what America did with this term. It grouped a lot of different people from a lot of different countries under one umbrella. And that umbrella was Hispanic. Because understand when I say lot of different groups of people, they group people from not Cuba, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Guatemalans, all under the term Hispanic. And they sold it to America as they good people that'll work hard. They sold it to us as they good people that'll work hard. That they family orientated. But they sold the image of my daddy and my mama to America as they lazy, they won't work. But my daddy and mama, my grandma and granddaddy helped build this nation for free. Yet, when you made up this word Hispanic, you sold it to us. You sold it to us as they was good people. So understand that the country sold their way, their terms in a way to make this. They did it as a sale pitch to glorify them being good people, while the very people that are the descendants of slaves, they sold the image of us as lazy. We don't care about family. They made us sexual predators. Black males is labeled us as sexual predators in the blackface skits. We got labeled. We got labeled in a different way. And Adam is right again. It's a political term, not a cultural group. And that's exactly what they did. They did it for political gain, to make ADOS people in this country feel as if we're gonna be outnumbered, when the truth is we're not. If they took this group and broke it down as what it really consisted of, as the country these people came from, you would see the numbers would rocket with what they doing to us. But what they do is try to off balance what's happening to us and try to say as another group is happening to even worse, or in alignment kind of what is happening to us. But it's not happening like it's happening to us. So when I say they made up this group, they made this group up you got because what you got here when you look at it, when I say if they took this group here, this Hispanic group, and broke it down to how many of them is Guatemalans, how many of them is Puerto Ricans, how many of them are Cubans. And that ain't saying I got nothing against them at all. I have nothing against them. What I'm against is how you try to use this term Hispanic and make it like it's 39 million people. When the truth is, it's a lot smaller than that. But this ADOS group over here that you clearly state, the rate at which Black Americans are killed by police is more than twice as high as the rate for white Americans. The truth is, it's much higher than it even showing here in the data. Because it's saying it's 42 million of us and 39 million of them. But we are one solid group. Because we all in this group are native Black people, American descendants of slaves. That's who we are. We are one group. See? So we must understand they try to play with the numbers to make us think, oh, it's getting ready to be another group here bigger than yours. No, it's not. These people come from different backgrounds, different countries. They don't see themselves as a Mexican. A Mexican don't see himself as a Cuban. A Cuban don't see himself as a Guatemalan. They different people. And we got to know that. And they know it. Because if you make a mistake and get them wrong, they'll let you know. That ain't me. And I don't blame them. They got the right to. So, we're going to go down here. Most victims are young males. And overwhelmingly, the majority of people shot and killed by the police are males. Over 95%, more than half the victims, are between the age of 20 and 40 years old. See? Shootings happen across the country. Police shootings have taken place in every state and have occurred more frequently in cities where populations are concentrated. States with high rates of shootings are New Mexico, Alaska, and Omaha. So you got the map here, got these dots on it showing you all over the place. See, shootings in North Carolina, 18 shootings per million people, 176 shootings. Now these are fatal shootings that happen. So we come to the terms that what we are seeing is a and I don't know if y'all saw that. Let me put this back up so you can see that what I was just showing. This chart here. So you see this right here. Most of these are young. Most of the victims are young males. So when we talk about the when we talk about this data and this injustice that we're receiving in this country, this points to it. So when you look at an organization like Black Lives Matter telling you it's about gender, none of these the numbers show it's about gender. It's about lineage. And we must remember that. And as we see here in the chat, like someone said, it's the same thing with Asians. They do the same thing. They sell us on this anti-Asian hate thing. Yet they don't tell you, what they don't tell you is Asians make more money than white folks in this country. And they don't tell you because of the hate that they receive come from white people. They try to sell you on it's us. It's us that's doing it. But it ain't the numbers don't add up. It don't align. So when the numbers don't align, we got to stick to the data and say you wrong. What you saying ain't happening. So that's one thing I want to touch on, these shootings. And understand these shootings don't stop. They don't stop from protesting. It stops when I can get my people to show up at a town hall. If I can't get my people to show up at town hall and put pressure on these elected officials that we ain't going for no more, your protest don't work. And you must understand, and I said it, and I'm going to say it again. We must understand, just because you see white people at the protest, when they leave the protest, they go back to their white privilege, and you go back to your unjustice lineage of being ADOS or black. That's the truth. Because your skin didn't come off because that white person was at that protest with you. That white person out there talking nice to you at that protest ain't going to change your economic position in this country. See, what you need to ask them in that when they in that protest, where do you stand on reparation, and what do you plan to do to fight for me to get the reparation that I'm owed to be made whole in a black agenda? Will you come to this town hall and stand in solidarity with me? Will you vote down ballot with me till I get justice? Because if they won't do that with you, what good is it them out there standing at a protest with you? It ain't gonna change your life. You see the news, you see the data. You the one being killed. So them standing, they ain't getting killed. We getting killed. ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, is getting killed. And we still the biggest group in this nation. Period. Don't let them fool you. If you want to know more about this made up term Hispanic, read the book. Go read the book, or you can see the video on YouTube. The lady talks about it. The making of the term Hispanic. The making of Hispanic is what the book is called. Read it. That's where the real work is at, for our people to get engaged, to sit down and read and listen to these documentations. So when somebody talking to you and you want to push back, you got information to push back with. But if you pushing back after you've been sitting around all year just looking at football, something happened, you get in front of a mic and start talking about BIPOC, people of color, because you ain't been doing this. You ain't been doing this. That's why you get people to get in front of the camera. They say all this weird stuff because they ain't been engaged. They ain't care. But somebody in their family got killed by the police. They got engaged. They came right out talking what they've been told to talk. Because they ain't did no self-education for themselves to find out the truth, to find out it's you, ADOS, that's going through all this, not other people. Now, I'm going to go to this. I got another article I want to share about the shooting here. Just a little bit here. Let me go click on this and pull this right here up. So, and the reason I just put this picture up, because as always, we got to have a tough conversation. And to me, the tough conversation is when I say mixing race don't fix race. I say it again. Mixing race don't fix race. So understand what we see here. What we seeing here is you got a ADOS man with a white woman. And we live in a society, you can be with whoever you want to, but know that it don't fix race when you make the decision. Because you still remain who you are and they still remain who they are. And the truth of the matter is, it can absolutely put a ADOS man in even more jeopardy when he with a white woman. Truth be told, because if the police kill you when you with your regular, if you were with a ADOS woman, he kills you. What if he jealous because you with that white woman now? How? Didn't the numbers just go up a quarter? Just went up for you to be maybe get shot then? And I say this to say, the reason I made this statement was just to also point out to people that you don't run from an issue by engaging with other races thinking that's how we gonna fix it. So if we mix race, we fix it. Understand that. That's why I say it's severe that we understand our history. We must know our history. Know that it ain't nothing new for blacks and whites to be white men rape black women. In slavery, they did it all the time. And so that white women lay down with black men. This is not new. It's always happened. Please stop trying to make it new. It's not new. It's as old. It's as old as anything else is in this country. Understand the young man that got killed in the police shooting. And here we are, we feel for this brother. We fought, we are out here fighting long before this brother was killed. That's why we trying to get more people involved. Because we are fighting 24/7 to stop these police killings. That's what ADOS doing. We doing the work. So understand why I bring this topic up. And I keep saying, when you go back to your basketball game, your football game, and the next shooting happens, know that William J. Dickens will be right here, still doing YouTube, trying to educate our people how to connect the dots. ADOS will be doing this work. We ain't waiting for police shootings to happen to do the work. We doing the work 24/7. And that's how you got to get. Because if you ain't going to get like that, that protest don't matter. It doesn't matter. If you ain't going to be about it all the time. If you won't show up at your town hall meeting. If you don't know what the budget is for your county. See, because you don't care enough. You got to care more than you just when things happen. See, ADOS, we care. We are constantly fighting. We ain't waiting for it to happen. We trying to prevent it from happening. So, and that's why I say, show up at them town halls, put pressure on your council member, on your congressman. If you don't know who these people are, go look them up. Find out who they are. Don't get mad with me when I'm doing the work when you ain't thinking about because the way I'm talking and the things I'm saying, because you done been disengaged and I've been right here engaged. I've been right here engaged. You see? Don't be mad with me because you ain't engaged. So we know that another, I want to show you, I'm gonna share another article with you here. Let's see here. Let's go right here. We're gonna see right here. Let's share this one. So this article here, right here. I want to show some of this article too. Let me share my screen right here. Cause one thing we're gonna see right here, they already coming with the excuse. They already coming with the excuse. They already coming with the excuse. They already creating cover for this officer. This is why it's so severe for us to get on board, to fall in line with what is happening. You can't stop it by these spurts of protest. You listen, Yvette Cornell say this all the time. Politicians do not respond to applause. They respond to pressure. And do you know how you apply pressure? With people power. People power. That's how you apply pressure. When I say town hall, imagine how these people shake in a booth when them town hall meetings, and they virtual now. You can go online to be on the town hall meetings. You don't even have to drive. This is the best time to be part and say, oh, it's virtual. All I got to do is jump on my phone. I can jump on there. You get 3 minutes to speak. Those 3 minutes can be the most powerful 3 minutes that you can sit down, write down something to hit them in the head and say, you will not win another election if my people are not made whole. But if you just waiting for another brother to get shot and you think because you run in the street, tear up some police cars, tear up some buildings. Listen to me well, my people. Everything you tear up got insurance on it. Everything you tear up got insurance on it. See, we forget these simple things. So you tear up the police car, they get a new one. They don't care, it's insured. You tear up a business store building, he get on news, right? And the way he gonna talk is if he been crushed because the black people came down here and tore my buildings up. They are wild animals. He gonna assassinate your character. The truth is, due to COVID, he probably happy you tore his business up. Because he probably was losing money. And you tore it up and you just bailed him out. Because insurance pay everything off now. See, the truth is you just helped him. You didn't hurt him. But when the camera got in front of him, he wanted to assassinate your character. Make you look like an animal, a wild thing. When he already know, he was so glad you tore it up. He was like, man, I've been losing money all year. I'm glad them niggas tore that business up. Shoot, I need this money. See, this is the truth. And if we don't understand that these protests don't fix it, showing up at town hall, moving your pressure up the ladder of command as what your ask and your demand is. See, and when you show up at those polls when it's time to elect these people, to let them know you're going to get them out of office if you don't get justice. No longer can we do politics based on if he's smooth, he play ball, he smoke weed. That ain't doing politics. I don't care what Obama did, how smooth he was. That ain't doing politics. I didn't care if Clinton played the saxophone. That won't doing politics. We must understand these political figures are people that we got to put pressure on to transform our lives, not fall in love with a politician, whether he be Democrat or Republican. If you out here in love with these politicians, that's your first mistake. See, that is not how it works. See, people come together to put pressure on these people to bring forth change that they can feel right in their household. For change that they can feel right in their household. And what I'm telling you, if you don't feel that change in your household, that politician didn't do nothing for you. Stop playing. Stop lying to yourself. The truth is what's got to be spoke. The truth. And I don't care if you don't like it. My people are dying. My people are being incarcerated in numbers that has never happened in the history of the world. I can't worry about your feelings. I'm trying to save your life. I can't worry about your feelings because I'm trying to save your life. And if you don't understand it, you ain't listening. You don't want to listen. You want to think it's a way to escape this harsh reality that we've been condemned to. And it ain't no way to escape it. We was born into this. We can't pick and choose who our mother and daddy is. Can't pick and choose it. You can't change it. You can't rewrite it. And you can't allow nobody to shame you about who your mom and dad was, who your great granddaddy was, who your great grandmama was. You got to defend them. You got to stand up for them. Once we know who we are, we can move in another way. It's okay to tell people you are not me. Instead of always black, ADOS people has always had these open arms, accepting everybody in, making everybody them. Understand, I listen to ADOS black people when Clinton played the saxophone hot, and then when he got condemned for getting head in the Oval Office, how black people accepted him and said, he is us. He the first black president. Understand, that man that you said was the first black president also was the president that wrote a policy, the 3-strike law policy, that it locked up massive numbers of black men. Massive numbers of black men got locked up on a president that y'all was so accepting of. called him the first black while he incarcerated Adolf's men in this country by passing policies that led to them being incarcerated. We must wake up. It's time to understand we are our own unique group. We don't have to be accepted of no one because no one is accepted of us unless they can benefit off of us. That's the only time that black males and black women in Adolf's men and Adolf's women in this country get accepted if people see that they can benefit off of something that dealing with us. That's the only time they deal. That's the only time they deal. You run a football, you grow to be about 6'9", oh, they love you. They love you a real cattle. You heard me. You a real cattle. That's what you are to them. When them white men go to your high school, see you run that football, they look at you no different than they do the cattle. They look at you no different than they do the cattle. So when I say they look at you no different than they do the cattle, when they go out on their farms and they look at those cows, they grade those cows. They put stamps in their ears, the bull, the heifer, the baby calf. Understand, when you running that football and don't know who you are and think because they gave you a contract, somehow you will re-engineered yourself until the police pull you over, drag you out your car, beat you down. You find out you still the same man, same person. They see you as cattle. Look how fast that boy run. Look how high that boy jump. Look how big that boy grow. How fast that boy is in the 40. How high can he jump? Get him strong. I need him to run that court. You basically is the cattle. It's time to know who we are, and it didn't just begin with us. It started long before us. If you having a conversation, and I always say it's a lopsided conversation, the conversation don't include the effect and the cause, it's lopsided. Black males just didn't wake up one day and started saying, I'm going to have to sell crack. Black men stopped getting hired on jobs, and it led to them selling crack. The next thing you better realize, Adolf's males, it led to them selling crack. The next thing you need to realize is this. How many Adolf's men control the airspace over the United States? Name me one. It ain't one. The next question is, how many Adolf's men control the water around the United States? It ain't one. They are white males that control these things. See, yet the crack ends up in these Adolf's communities and in the pockets of Adolf's men that come from slavery that's been deprived of being able to be men. And they get sent off to prison. Most families turn their back on them because they blame them for it, because they themselves don't understand cause and effect. Understand, if that same black male, Adolf's male, had got allowed, his daddy, his granddaddy, had got allowed upward mobility in the country they built, it would have changed his life. But if you can't connect the dots to that, you're going to blame him because you don't know nothing else. But to blame, well, he shouldn't have sold that crack. You know they'll lock you up selling that crack. Well, they the one brought it in here. Or they locked up. They brought it in here. They ain't locked up, is they? Some of you will say, well, you know how it works. How many of you been out there broke before? Where you digging in that little change cup looking for that? I need 50 cents to make $1. I got to get some gas. How many been digging in that change cup looking for change to pay for that gas? I done been one. I done been digging in that change cup looking for change, try to pay for gas. I've been one and I ain't ashamed of it. I ain't ashamed of it because there's a lot of you out there been one. But you're ashamed of it because you can't connect the dots. You blaming yourself. You blaming yourself for what was going on long before you was here. Long before you was here, your people was being denied financial mobility. And then you came and you thought you had reinvented yourself as if you weren't still tied to them. But now you still can't connect the dots and you still blame. Well, maybe I should have not spent this. Maybe I should have not did it. Let me tell you this. You can save all you want to save. You can pinch wherever you want to pinch. You can listen to white folks tell you, well, what you got to do is to save money. What you got to do is you don't buy lunch at lunchtime. You take your lunch to work with you, and that's going to save you about $300-400 a year. And the sad thing is when you save that 300 or 400, before you can even save it, something comes up. I got a call tonight. Things come out of nowhere sometimes. Expenses come out of nowhere sometimes. And that's how it goes. Something you're not expecting happens. See, white people have these same things. The difference is they got money on deck when they have an unlikely accident to happen. They got money on deck for it. Most of us right now on this call, and even the ones not on this call, right now, if you needed $1,000 and you needed your life depending on it, you'll be out of luck. Yet you sit back in the shadows. You don't fight for nothing to make it better. You get mad at people that do fight for things to get better. You don't stand in solidarity with them. Matter of fact, most of you stand in very in line with more white supremacists than you even want to believe. I tell people this all the time. Martin Luther King was a hated man when he was alive. Why? Because he was me and I am him. Most people, family members and all, don't care to talk to me, don't care to walk with me, don't care to stand in solidarity with me. Because they say, Junior, you just overrated with it, man. You talk about it too much, man. But your life is the one that stands in the balance of what these people are doing. And when I say your life hangs in that balance, it hangs there due to the fact of your lineage. And it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, it may not be you, it may be your son, it may be your daughter that they do something to. If we don't fight for our lineage, we are going to pay the price, as you see, that keeps happening. As you see, it keeps happening. It doesn't stop. And it's not going to stop until we can get our group to know that the fight is always going on. Not just when one of these police shootings happen. Not just when one of these politicians say, look, I need you to get up and get out and vote for me. See, there's a lot of you out there right now. You ain't talking about no politics. You ain't talking about nothing. Because Joe Biden in off. We voted. We voted. Joe Biden in off. We done. We done. I did what I supposed to do. I voted. Listen, man. Long before you ever go there and vote, man. Long before you go there and vote. You got to be doing the work. I'm doing the work every single day. I'm in meetings. I'm in union meetings. And all these places I'm at, I'm talking about reparations of the black agenda for my group. How many of you out there doing that? How many of you are doing it? How many of you are putting pressure on people for the future of your kids? See, me and my buddy Leroy, we always say this to people. You don't love your kids. See, I had a conversation with a young lady this weekend. And this young lady had on a Joe Biden, Kamala Harris shirt. And when I say we got to make even other ADOS people uncomfortable when they come in our space with these ways of thinking that they doing something to help their people. What I mean is, whether I win an argument or lose it, I want you to have to argue because I don't want you to put that shirt on no more. Period. See, and that's a win to me. That's a win to me. So when we use this term, you don't love your children, I told this young lady that had on this Kamala Harris and Joe Biden shirt, and it said Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Chuck Tellers. That's what the shirt said. This young lady ain't just eating the cake. She had to rap on the cake too. Because as soon as I said something to her response to me was anything but Trump. Now, if you want to talk about social engineering 101, that's social engineering 101. When you done swallowed it all, even down to what they told you to do. Vote for Joe Biden because it's anything but Trump. But Joe Biden is a career politician. Been there 47 years. And for 47 years, he wrote crime bills that destabilized ADOS families, sent black men to prisons at rates never seen in the history of this country. And she telling me anything but Joe Biden. And I say to her, so you don't care about none of these ADOS men around you right now. Police just walk up right now and just start locking us up. You don't care because we done something wrong. But all we done wrong was be ADOS. All we done wrong was be ADOS. See, to be ADOS is wrong. We must understand that when I say, do you love your children, and you defending Joe Biden for incarcerating your children, but you stand in solidarity with the crime, the bills of Joe Biden, and he got your son locked up. How do you tell me then you love your children? You standing in line with Joe Biden. Joe Biden ain't never sat down at your dinner table. I bet you. Joe Biden ain't never came to one of your cookouts. I bet you. See, this is why I say we must stand in solidarity with our family members, man. If our family is out there doing the work, why don't we stand in solidarity with them? Why are we not standing in solidarity with them? If our family is telling us, listen, this is what's happening. These are the policies that Joe Biden wrote, and this is how it affected us. I don't care how you feel about it. This is what happened. We must know this. And as the awakening right here saying, those ADOS who are parents right now need to understand that if they don't fight for reparation, their children have no future. Your child has no future. And we throwing the warning flag. We are fighting for dear life at this moment right now. The truth is, a lot of us haven't really seen the full impact of what COVID has done. Trust me. One of the states done lifted that eviction thing. Get ready. The rest of these states about to fall in line with it. I say again, 1 in 4 ADOS people are behind on their rent. It's people out there tonight that family members are going to be evicted. They're going to be knocking at your door. This is why I fight. I got family that I love with all my heart. And I love this family. And I ask often, how many of them truly love me back? Or is love just a word we use because it sounds good? Once again, symbolism. See, when you love somebody, you fight for them. You find a way to fight for them. If you see that a family member is fighting for you, why not fight back for them? When we know who we are, we know who we're not. I say it again. When we know who we are, we know who we're not. And there's nothing disrespectful about telling someone, you are not me. Your struggle and your suffering ain't mine. The truth is, when we look at these other groups that come to America, they came here off the work that me and your great granddaddy and great grandma did. Mama and daddy did. Because my mom and daddy were sharecroppers. And if you don't know, sharecropping was just another legal word for slavery. We must come to terms with this. We must wake up. We must see it. That's I'm a as we see in the chat. I want to take some questions because I know sometimes people might not want to call in. They might want to put a question in the chat. So if you're the type that don't want to call in, you can put a question in the chat. We'll put it up here on the screen and we'll answer it. I see right here we got Joe Biden's son is a criminal that hasn't served any time under the law. His father wrote the imprison us, imprison us. And this is true. Joe Biden's son is broken all laws. But guess what happened for his son, though? Once again, whiteness. Stop being tricked by the protesters being out there with you and understand what whiteness is. This is what whiteness is. Joe Biden wrote the crime bill that locked up our brothers, our cousins, our sons, our daughters. We went to prison and it destabilized the ADOS family. It destabilized the ADOS family. His son finna write a book on smoking crack and using drugs and make money off of it. When you talk about the opioid crisis right now, these white people are able to sue the pharmacy company that made opioid. So not only did they get high and they have to go to prison, went to a rehab, they also are being able to file lawsuits against the pharmaceutical companies that gonna do what? Generate more wealth to their group. Did that happen for us during the crack era? Did it happen for ADOS during the crack era? No, they used tanks. They battle rammed our doors, killed our mamas, tore our families up, killed us over $20 and $40 crack rock that they let in the country. And we get no lawsuits. We can't do no lawsuits. And people telling me that was a long time ago. I'm telling people it's 2021 and you don't know enough. It's 2021 and you don't know enough. If you being treated just like your ancestors were treated, if you being treated just like your ancestors was being treated, what makes you think you any different? Oh, I forgot. You smoother than them. Oh, no. I'm still wrong. Not only you smoother, you can read and write. You can read and write. And they couldn't read and write. You see, we must understand. My daddy had a lot of terms, so you hear me a lot quote things from my daddy. A lot of people know him as little boy. Some people call him wine. I called him daddy. But my daddy would often say, if you watch closely, the smarter people get, the dumber they become. I'm living in 2021. My daddy died in 2008. And I'm living in an era my daddy predicted when I was a little boy, about 10 years old. People can read and write, yet they are being manipulated more now than they was when they was in chains and getting whipped. Ain't that something? Being manipulated more now that you can read and write than you did when you was in chains and whips. The biggest manipulation is when you don't know who you are. We stroke each other egos. I've listened to people say things from Melon Nation, saying melon, people buying melon, they selling you melon. The melon is worth more than this. Understand, I need to know who paid their rent, who paid their mortgage off of the melon of their skin. I just want to know. I just want to know who can say they paid their rent tonight off of their melon of their skin. See, if you can't make your car note with them type of, I always call it ego stroking, stop doing it. It don't benefit you. It ain't making you no money. And I get it. We all do a lot of selling ourselves on being kings and queens. Listen, Me personally, I relate with the peasant because I come from slavery. See, if I know I'm the peasant, that makes me stronger than you because you fantasizing about who owns you. Because if kings and queens own slaves and you yourself come from slaves, how you fantasizing about being the slave owner instead of conquering the slave owner? See, that's why you got to know who you are. When you don't know who you are, you melt into a lot of things that you're not. And that makes you weak. Period. The first key to an attack is know who the enemy is. How in the heck do you become the enemy and think you can fight the enemy at the same time? You can't do it. Can't be done, never have been done. So let's stop all this fantasizing about kings and queens. Put our boots on, do the work to make us whole in the nation we built, and accept that we was the slaves. Accept that these people have manipulated us, used us for their personal gain. We can change it if we can accept it. If we can accept it, we can change it. But you can't keep running around. When Trump made a statement saying poor people don't got nothing to lose, they don't got nothing. That black people don't got nothing to lose because black people ain't got nothing. And the first thing black people do is jump out and want to try to say, oh, we do got something. We got some money. We got this. We got this. We got some money. Hold up. What you mean you got some money? White people, as a group, got $104 trillion. And they own 95% of all the land. Understand, without land, you can't have wealth. You have nowhere to build. You have nothing to build on. And with that kind of wealth, and 90% of our group only got 350 billion, meaning we ain't even touching 1 trillion. What are these people talking about? That we have wealth. If we ain't even touching 90% of our group together, ain't touching $1 trillion. We got to wake up. The only way to fix it is to wake up and accept it and start doing the work to make it better. We are old. And if we can get people power to be the wind at our backs, we can win this thing. We can do what our ancestors couldn't do. Right now is the time to capture the moment, to sit down, read the book I told you about, The Making of Hispanic, the word Hispanic. You need to understand this thing. Because then you will understand it ain't no coalition of people of color. Ain't no coalition or no BIPOC. Because understand, Native Americans, the Indians that they want to tell you on being the ones that are sorry, they own slaves too. Indians own slaves. So if any of you out there talking about I got some Cherokee in me, you're exactly right. You do. They own slaves. 15% of their population was slaves. So they rape your women too. So of course you got some in. But go protest the Cherokee Nation and ask them, can you live on that reservation? Ask them, can you get your monthly check? A group tried it in 2019. They tried it. Them Cherokees came out and told them what they was. You ate us. You ain't me. And you don't get nothing from me. So what's wrong with us for doing it for ourselves now? What's wrong when I say we must stand up for ourselves? Ain't everybody else standing up for their group? We the only people that got leadership that comes out. Our leadership comes out and start anti. Al Sharpton jumped out the window head first with no hands, right head first out the window, talking about anti-Asian hate. But black males are dying and being incarcerated at numbers never seen before. What is this man talking about? We ain't been fixed. And yet he's standing up for the group that make more money than white folks. They come in. Any of these Asian organizations you walk in, tell me how many times you see other races in it. How many Chinese restaurants y'all walk in and see another race in it? I'll wait. Because, baby, I done been all over the country. And I think one time I seen a white girl in one and I was thrilled. I was like, what? You see? So they know who they are and they know who they gonna help. And it ain't ADOS. It ain't ADOS. But guess what? You look for, boy, black people, I'm going to support the Asian business to show that I don't hate them. Well, tell me this. Is you going to go to your town hall meeting and you going to vote for policies to help your group, ADOS? No, you ain't going to do that. Because first thing out of most people's mouths when they talk about supporting Asians, they say something negative about their own group. Black people don't want nothing. ADOS people don't want nothing. ADOS, ain't it amazing how social engineering has worked on our group? Ain't it amazing how social engineering has worked on our group? We must be able to see this. And that's what breaking the mental chains stand for. For to break these mental chains that's got us locked out of standing in solidarity with one another. Why is it we so quick to see the negativity in one another, but so quick to see the good in other people? That's a mental problem, like it or not. That's a mental problem, like it or not. It's a mental problem, like it or not. When you quick to see the bad in your own, when they are you and you are they, but you quick to try to see the good in other people. Understand, man, we all are just humans at the end of the day. And that means the truth is we come with good and bad. That's the truth. But at the end of the day, so do their group. And their group ain't endured what our group has endured. So if you're going to have any leniency, you should be more lenient with your group than you is other people because of what we have endured. That's why I got so much love for my group. No matter what negativity I see, I still fight for them. I still stand in solidarity with them. I still try to educate them so that they can stand and fight as a group in solidarity, because that's where the real power lies at. So we must understand that. We must see it. And when we can see it, we can move forward. And just like here, where he's saying, President Biden, that 1.9 trillion relief package, provided 31 billion to tribal nation, indigenous people to address long-standing problems. Now understand, did they come out and say, did them tribal nations come out and say, no, we don't want this unless you gonna help ADOS people too? They need to get some of this money. No, they didn't do that. But as soon as our leadership start to speak for us, they include everybody else. Well, I'm telling you right here at ADOS, we thinking about ADOS people, American descendants of slavery. We understand what these people are doing. And we fighting in solidarity with our group. Period. We standing for reparations and a black agenda that applies to all black people in this country. That black agenda. But reparation is for the American descendant of slavery. We built this nation. Now, I'm gonna take a break, and after break, if some people want to put some questions in the chat, if some people want to call in, that number to call in, I always forget it because I ain't remember, but it's 351 888 5665. Hold on, let me look at it. Make sure I tell people the number right. I hate when I get it wrong, but sometimes I get it wrong. So the number is to call in if you want to call in is 351 888 6356. That number again is 351 888 6356. Hey, ask some questions. I want people to call in. I want anybody you know that you think can debunk my conversation. Anybody that think we should be moving another way, call in. challenge my method. And I'm telling you that the data holds true. That the only thing makes us whole is reparations and a black agenda. And just like he said in his chat here, and a Native American didn't vote for Biden at a 90% rate. ADOS people did. Why? Because economically, we are a bottom lift. Because economically, we are at the bottom, and our lived experience remain the same. Understand when I say our lived experience remain the same. Some of us may go off to college. And people say, well, black people got different lived experience. Well, let me show you how that lived experience that you keep talking about is still the same. Some of us go off to college, right? We get out of college. Some of us can't find a job in the same areas we went to college in. So we end up economically back at the bottom. Some of us go to prison. We get out of prison, come back, we economically at the bottom. All of these roads and all of these journeys lead right back to being at the bottom. That's the ADOS life. Period. So we're gonna take a break, and we'll be back after the break. Call in. We back. All right. That's the number there. If anybody want to call in, if you want to put something in the chat, you can put it in the chat. We one thing I want people to remember too. Most of this stuff, if we would just sit down and just read little things like when I say the making of Hispanic, it actually starts to become clear what's happening. What they're trying to create is they want to bury us. They want us to be non-existent. And if they can do that, their goal is accomplished. They know who they owe and they know who they don't owe. And we only receive all this injustice because they know they owe us a great debt. So we got to understand that's why a lot of things they throw against us. They know it's a group here, and that group is ADOS. that we owe these people. We owe them everything. Um, I know a lot of times people don't understand what the cost and the money that slavery generated. Notice that white people, your ancestors' bodies was used as credit line for white people. They would use them slaves' body. They could go to a bank, say, "Look, I want a loan for this. I got 2 slaves I can put up." Understand, you was the currency in this country, and now as a group, you are being starved out, and you got people telling you that you shouldn't be fighting for it, that you are not owed nothing. You got celebrities that's talking this fantasy talk about you can do anything when they haven't accomplished anything. So when I say celebrities, and I try to get people to understand, these people are struggling to keep up with this $104 trillion that white Americans have attained. And we so they having one thing they having on something that they having the HR 40 has I forgot what it's called. Oh man, I forgot what it's called. But tomorrow they'll be having a thing going on HR 40. But I don't think it's anything dealing with making any edits to it. Or not. Um, I'm reading something here from the chat. It said the data from the Associated Press AP Votecast, a nationwide survey of more than 133,000 voters and non-voters, showed 52% of Native Americans supported Donald Trump, while 45% favored Joe Biden. So this here, and it's called a markup. It's what they're doing on HR 40. But this data right here shows and proves that Native Americans in line with white supremacy a lot of time. Why? Because when you go back in history, they fell in line with owning slaves just like white people did. See, people don't talk about this enough. What you hear a lot of time is people try to talk about is, this was their land. This is their land. But they also enslaved your people. So the truth be told, they owe you reparations too. This is why we say we must stand in solidarity with ourselves. When we realize, when our people wake up and realize that 250 years of slavery, another 100 years of Jim Crow, that we stood through all of this alone. When we talk about this tied to Africa, Africa sent no ship to free you. Africa sent no plane that dropped no missiles to get you from over here. Because the truth is, those kings and queens that y'all so much want to be like, they sold you into this slavery. That's the truth. And understand that we stood alone for this 401 years. We stood alone in this fight. When do we ever stop and say, we have had to stand alone this long? I might as well stand in solidarity solely with my group. If you're going to wipe me out, let me die as a man amongst my own. Let me die as an ADOS woman amongst my own. Let me die as an ADOS man amongst my own men. Bury me with them. We must do this. We must come to terms with it. It ain't going to change because you go out to a club and you partying with a lot of different races and you think somehow that ties y'all together. It don't. Once that party is over, we'll all go back home. They'll go back to where they come. You'll go back to where you come. You will still remain ADOS. You'll be, the data shows that at the end of the day, you more likely be the one to get pulled over when you leave the club, not them. So the truth will always come back, no matter what. The truth will come back, no matter what. So this truth is what we have to stand on. with the truth and the data in line, and we know who we are without a shadow of a doubt. With all we have endured, we can overcome and force this nation to do what it's never have done, and that's pay the debt that's owed. I always like to bring people abreast to the reparation discussion because I know most of you don't even keep up with what's going on with reparation, but I know people in the chat do because they hate us. A lot of people that watch the show that hate us, we do because our fight is for reparations and a black agenda and to be made whole. Bills have been passed. Reparation is no longer a fantasy thought or something that people can tell you it's too big, it won't get done. Well, we doing the work. What we are asking of our people is to join in with us to do the work and stop saying what ain't gonna happen and start saying it's gonna happen because I'm gonna fight until it happens. And I'm gonna educate my kids to do the same. I am going to educate my kids to do the same. And that's how you win fights. It never failed me that I always ask the question, how is it that our people, we take our kids, we send them off to the military. They go put their life on the line for white supremacy, white capital. Yet they come back home and don't put their life on the line for their own group. Or the parent tells them, don't worry about fighting for black people. You go worry about yourself. You go worry about yourself. But you just sent your child to go fight for white supremacy and white capital. When he come back here or she come back here, she can still be gunned down by the police. She can still be pepper sprayed by the police, just like that lieutenant that was ADOS. See, our lineage always come back. Yet, we don't stand up for it. When we wake up and realize we must stand up for our group, our lineage, running off to the military, running off to the football field, nothing is more important than fighting for your group. I don't care how many basketballs you dunk. I don't care how many touchdowns you make. I don't care how many people you kill overseas. If you don't come back home and fight for your people, it's no justice have been served. See, we tell ourselves how wonderful it is for our son to go fight for them. But if I say, I need your son to fight for his people, you tell me I'm dumb. That Junior dumb. Ain't nobody fighting with him. Ain't nobody gonna fight with him. What are he talking about? Fight for what? Fight so that your son can ride down that road and be safe. Fight so that your son or your daughter can have up mobility in the nation that their ancestors built. If you fight for them, how when it's time? Another thing I find within our group, in our mental condition, that within our group we get people that sits in the space that's supposed to fight for the ADOS group. They love to start hiding behind religion when you like, listen, you got to make these people uncomfortable. Well, listen here, William, ain't nobody gonna make me go against my God. Well, when you went over there and fought for the white man, when you went over there and fought for the white man in his war, I'm sure he had you doing things that went against your God. I'm willing to bet my life on it that he had you doing things that went against your God, but you still did it. But now you come back here and we talking about fighting for your people, and you start telling me about your God. See, these are the things that we must push back on, because I push back on it. If you went over there and fought for him, your God, and stopped you from doing what he told you, what that white supremacist ordered you to do, why can't you fight for your people? And we ain't asking you to kill nobody like he did. We ain't asking you to take somebody oil like he did. We asking you to fight for justice for your people that so long have starved for justice. We telling you to go to a town hall meeting. Tell your councilman you ain't going for it no more. If your people can't be made whole, if your community can't be rebuilt and brought up, you ain't going, you will not win another election. That's what we asking you to do, is to push back, make people uncomfortable, because we have to be uncomfortable. We got to walk in the light bill place and feel shame because we don't got the money to pay that light bill. We got to walk and when it's time to pay the rent, go to somebody. My dad always used to call it like a man got to be able to stand up, hold his head up. We got to go to a man, bent over. Listen, man, look, I don't got all that rent money. Can I give you 200 this week? Get you the rest of it next week? See, we got to be uncomfortable. We got to be shamed. But we refuse to make other people feel what we have to deal with day in and day out. It's time for that to stop. If we got to be uncomfortable, we got to make everybody uncomfortable too. Because understand, we are the only group that's owed a debt. And everybody comes here to weep and benefit off the injustice of the ADOS group. That's what people come here to do. Hey, Ray, right. This is what the government's saying. That's what they did to us. So we got to be ashamed. We got to be uncomfortable. Yet we allow other people to be comfortable. Here at ADOS, we don't allow other people to be comfortable. If we got to be uncomfortable, so is they. If I got to pitch and dig in that chain cup, try to get those pennies, they do too. They gonna have to feel that too, one way or another. If we must. The thing that's going on with HR 40 is this: they doing a markup on it, and we'll see how that turn out. We don't know that HR 40 don't got no teeth in it, and we know it don't. And what we seeing, they ain't trying to put no teeth in it, cause we don't need a study. We don't need a study to know what you done did to us. We looking around us, we see it. We know it in our history, know it in our lineage. But they want to turn everything to a study. The only study need to be done is on the numbers. How much that bill gonna be? When them payments gonna start coming out? Who gonna be the people that gets it? Here at ADOS, it's very clear what we know who the people is that needs to get it. So, and that's what we doing. That's why we doing these shows. That's why we trying to educate our people, and that's why we trying to create solidarity amongst our group. You must know who you are. Let nobody make no mistakes on who they are, because that's what real power lies at. If you struggling with who you are, you don't know how to move. You find yourself moving for everybody, yet you get left out in the cold. You find yourself moving for everybody, and you get left out in the cold. So this is why we must move as a group, and we must move by the data. I appreciate everybody for joining in tonight. Listen, I want everybody to as I close out on the call on the show tonight, I want you to listen to my outro, because there'll be some good information in there where you can get in contact with the Rocky Mount ADOS, Twin City ADOS, Triangle ADOS. It'll be information in about our newspaper. It'll also be information in there how you can also follow Yvette Cornell, Antonio Moore. These are the founders of the ADOS movement. We stand in solidarity with them without a shadow of a doubt. Another thing you will find out in this in our move in the outro is ways to contact these different chapters. Another thing, if you're watching this in YouTube, I want you to subscribe. I want you to hit that like button. I want you to share this video with family, cousins, uncles. I don't care where they at. Share this video with them. get people engaged in this fight. If we can get people, engaged with this fight, we can change this tide. And I don't care what nobody tell you. If we can get people engaged in this fight, to understand the reason I'm doing this video, I need you to know what I know. Leroy always say, reach one, teach one. That's what we trying to do with this information. We're trying to reach one, teach one. If we can get this going, we can start to move this line forward. And that's the goal, is to move that line forward. So, once again, subscribe, hit the like button, share, send this video to your family members. Let's get this line moving, and let's be part of these town hall movements in your local, in your community. Start showing up. Start hitting them with some of this data that we teaching here. Start pressing them. Ask them where they stand at when it comes to the indoctrination of our kids. Find out where these people stand. When it's time to vote, show them with your vote intelligently. So when you show them with your vote intelligently, then you know who they are, and you tell them, you see them for who they are through the eyes of policies. So good night, everybody. Have a good night. And once again, listen to the outro so you can find out how to get in contact with us and what we have going on. Good night. And remember, stay strong, stay focused. Keep the damn line moving forward.